It has factory subframe connectors on it, which that's a plus. Guys, another day here on Cory's Garage. So if you're a rational person, you'd be working on this, getting ready to put that motor in the Scout and everything. But I'm not a rational person. So I've kind of been working on a deal for like a year and a half or so. Car that I've really wanted. I like this thing. I've been able, a couple weeks ago, I made a purchase on it, and luckily on this one, I didn't have to cut any trees down. Didn't have to put no wheels and tires on, no tetanus shot, don't have holes in the floor. I actually paid for it, put the key in, started it, and drove it home. So a little out of the ordinary for what I usually do. But, you know, got to spoil yourself every once in a while. So this car, you know, it's kind of something I wanted when I was a teenager. Totally unattainable at that point in my life, you know. But now these things have gotten kind of old, and that's one reason why I'm kind of drawn back to these things and everything. And so, yeah, I hope you guys like it. Let's check it out. You're probably going to be surprised. I know I am a little bit still surprised that I even bought one of these, you know what I mean? But, and I'll give you a hint, it's the first time I've ever owned this particular model car. I've had this make of cars, several of them. I've got a couple, but this is totally a new one for me. But I actually kind of know a lot about them. So, let's check it out. You're going to be surprised. So welcome back, guys. So as you can see, we got something a little bit out of the norm here. This is a 2003 Mustang Mach 1. It's got the 4.6 liter, 4-valve, huge valve covers on it. It's got the TR 3650 5-speed transmission, the 8.8 Ford with the 355 gears, and I only believe they made like 7,500 of these or so. But if you're like me, I grew up in like the early 2000s, and all my buddies had the LT1 Camaros, the 98 through 02 Camaro SS, and the Trans Am WS6, the 01 through 04 Z06 Corvette, which is like really up there for, I like that car. I think that's like the best bang for your buck. And then you had the 99 through 04, I believe they call it a New Edge Mustang. I didn't know that, but yeah, 99 through 04, they had the regular GT, they had the Mach 1 in 03 and 04, and then they had the, what I think is the all-time, like, badassest Mustang they made was like the 03, 04 Terminator Cobra, and it had pretty much kind of the same style engine, the mod motor like this one's got, but it had the forged bottom end, and it had the Eaton supercharger, and those things were nothing to play with, man. So, yeah, so I picked this up, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. Actually got it a few houses down. Yeah, I've definitely always kind of wanted one of these. I figure I would probably snag up an 02 WS6 or like a Z06, but I was out running one day, and this car had actually passed me, and I was like, holy crap, it's been a long time since I've seen a Mach 1, an 03, 04 model. And so I tried to find out where the car was. Couldn't find it around here, man. I'd be on the mini bike with my daughter. She didn't know we was looking for it, but I've been looking for it. But one day I was out running again, and you know, this could be a couple months later, I saw the car again. This time I saw it turn into a driveway, so I got after it, man. Luckily, I got the guy before he got in the house, and I was like, hey, man, what's the story on that Mustang? That Mach 1, you know? And so he told me he'd bought it with 52,000 miles, you know? And he's had it all these years, and he just drives it once in a while. And I was like, hey, I'm interested. You ever want to sell it up the street, Rock House, hit me up, you know? And I've been talking to him for almost 2 years about it. And just a few weeks ago, we was out, you know, putting it down on the street, you know, running. And he had drove by, and I got talking with him, and I went back and drove it, checked it out. here we are. I got it. So it's definitely out of the scope for this channel, but you know, I'm into a little bit of everything, so it doesn't really matter. I will say this has no rust. I didn't have to cut any trees down. I can't see the ground when I set in it. I mean, it's like literally a working, operating car. So let's check it out. All right, so here it is, guys. Do a little walk around. One thing I did order, I ordered the new stripe kit because the outside stripe is kind of missing on this car. So I'm gonna redo that. It does got a few rock chips and everything from just being driven. But all in all, the car doesn't look to have been in any accidents. All the gaps look good on it. Seems to be very well taken care of. The car doesn't have any rust on it or anything like that. It seems to be very well taken care of. And then when I was looking at it, how these stripes look like they're faded down. They're actually supposed to be that way. See, I didn't know that. So, but yeah, kind of a walk around. Let's check out the engine. All right, we got the hood up. Let's check it out. All right. So there is the 4.6 liter, 4-valve, twin cam engine. I almost said small block, but with the shaker hood, which I really, really like that. But yeah, this motor is a monster. Now, unbelievably, this is not a very big engine. This is only 281 cubic inches. So I can't remember the exact bore, but it's got a lot smaller. It's like a 3.5 inch bore, I think. I can't remember. I don't remember the stroke, but it's a pretty small engine. It redlines at like 65 or 6,800, but it definitely has got some RPM to it. You got to kind of wind it up to get it moving. But all the hood is in really good shape. Nothing's broken. This car is 100% stock. It's not modified in any way, which I like, but it looks great. Next, we'll open the doors and they shut nice and crisp. Really, this car's been really well taken care of. No cracks on the door panels like the 98 through 02 Camaros and Firebirds do. The seats, which is like a Mach 1 only deal, they're in really good shape. The shifter, which is a Mach 1 deal, very nice. I don't even know if the back seats have hardly been used, but yeah, they fold down and everything. The headliner's nice. Car's in really, really, really good shape. Let's go to the driver's seat. And the handles, they're just like perfect. They're nice and crisp. Doesn't feel like they're broken for, you know, a 20-year-old car. Again, no cracks on this side. The only blemish on the interior is that bolster right there on the seat. All right, so we're on the inside, and we have the Mach 1 only gauges, which I'm not for sure if the Bullet Mustang that they made in 01 had the same gauges, but it does have an aftermarket CD player, but the previous owner did give me the factory radio. I wouldn't mind getting that fixed and putting it back in here, but you know how things go. And the trunk is just perfect in this car as well. It says the Mach, I think it's Mach 460 is what the stereo is. Sounds really good. But yeah, that's and all this stuff, the door on that's not broken. I mean, everything in this car works and it still smells new. Now this car does have Flowmaster mufflers on it. It's so quiet that I thought it had the factory ones on it, but it still has the factory H-pipe with 4 cats. So I might want to change that to like an off-road X or an off-road H, one of the two. Get some sound out of this thing, because you got to have a Mustang that makes some good noise. But you want to hear what it sounds like? And one of my favorite things about the car is the shaker hood. That thing is so cool. man, this car's quiet. So the other thing is this car is one of those Exity twin disc clutches or whatever that he had put in it. Well, it's heavy. It reminds me of like driving an old car with a super heavy clutch. So I don't care for that too much, but I do want to put one of those like adjustable clutch cables on it. So I think I'm going to plan that for the future. Trying to think of what else. That may be the only, and then just how quiet this car is, because like this car is supposed to sound really good, and it's like I said, it's, those Flowmasters, I don't know what series, you know, you got your 40, your 80, I'm sure you Flowmaster 10s, I've had those before. I've actually had all of them, but this car is very, very quiet. So I don't know, do I go with an off-road X pipe or an H pipe? But going to that clutch cable issue, I was like, man, there's no way this thing is this heavy. So on this next clip, I get the car jacked up and I actually take the clutch cable loose and check everything, and it turns out it's not the clutch cable, it's just a heavy pressure plate. But let's check out this next deal and you'll see a few things this car's got that the regular GT doesn't have, and just how clean it is underneath. All right, so I'm in the garage. I think I've put about 50 miles on this car now, but I went and got an oil change for it, so I just got that handled. I didn't video that, you guys all know what's up on that. But it still had all the oil in it. It's got about 3,500 miles on that the last oil change he did wasn't low a drop. So I measured all the oil. It still had almost a little over 6 quarts of oil in it. So we're lucky there, but let's have a look under it. Everything's checking out pretty good. It does got new lower control arms under it. It does have, looks like that says KYB shocks, and that was done about 80,000 miles ago. And all that stuff is said to have been done. All the hoses, the water pump. I mean, everything's looking pretty good. It is dirty. All right, we're gonna slide up underneath here. And you'll notice this car didn't have any rust on it, which is a big plus for me. But it still has the factory H pipe. It has Flowmaster mufflers on it, which, man, this car is incredibly quiet. And one thing you will notice being a Mach 1, it has factory subframe connectors on it, which that's a plus. He has upgraded the lower control arms and upper control arms. They're supposed to be like Ford Racing or whatever, but I have the receipts for that. And they were done pretty recent, within the last 30,000 miles or so. And this is the TR 30, I think it 3650 5-speed transmission. Looks to be in pretty decent shape. One thing I am going to check though is I'm gonna pull that cover off that clutch cable, which would be right here. And we're gonna check that clutch cable, make sure it's not, you know, in a bind or whatever, because it does feel like the clutch is kind of heavy on this, when it kind of doesn't feel like it needs to be. And then out back, as like I said, it's got Flowmaster mufflers on it, but has the Ford 8.8 rear axle, which I think is a 31 spline rig. And I think this car has 355 gears in it. So I think the standard GT had the 327s, but I think this has 355s, but I'll have to check. But everything's looking nice and solid. Nothing looks out of range. It just needs a good cleaning. I'll probably get the power washer out and simple green the whole bottom of this car and give it just a good bath. But it doesn't look like to have ever been in an accident. Looks to be pretty straight and solid. Oh, let me get out from under here. A lift would be nice one of these days. But yeah, it's looking good so far. All right, guys, so we just pulled up the car wash. We're gonna wash this thing off, get it cleaned up. I haven't done any cleaning to this car since I got it, which it's pretty clean. You know, it's been taken care of. So let's get out and we'll get this thing cleaned up. So at first glance, this looks like about, you know, any used car. But I kind of like to see the engine bays like this when I buy them, because, you know, you're not supposed to be spraying water on them, but I do it to get them clean. But I mean, it's just a good, honest vehicle. So we're gonna hit it with the simple green and try to get it cleaned up under here. I got an oil change for it. I just want to get this thing detailed out and cleaned up. So I forgot my little scrub brush deal. So this should work pretty good. We'll let it set on here and then I'll start the engine up and let it idle, and I'll start the washing process. But I'll probably hit it again at another time. But yeah, let that sit on there. soak in a little bit. But we let the engine run, that way the heat will boil all the, won't boil, but it'll help the engine dry out faster. Another thing I will go over about washing these engines is these have the spark plugs that go down through the valve cover. Sometimes they do get water in them and will set in there and corrode. So that could be one reason why I hadn't washed it off. But so I'm cruising the Mustang, just got off work, and what are the odds? I've got an 03 Mach 1, there's another one. So not one 03, 04 Mach 1, but there's another one. And this one's got some good looking wheels on it. How neat is that? Oh, this is a 40th anniversary, so this is an 04. How cool is that? Pretty neat. Good morning, guys. So we're out for a little bit of a cruise. So I've kind of went over everything with the old Mustang. Oh man, it's getting cold again. But anyways, I've went over everything on the Mustang. I'm gonna do a little fluid change, but I think the first thing I'm gonna do to this car is I've got that vinyl stripe. I'm gonna change that because the outside striping is missing off of it, and I'm gonna fix that. And then I can't decide if I want to. It's too quiet, as you can tell. These Mustangs are supposed to flat make some noise, man. So this thing's quiet, man. It's not very loud. So my plan is to either do a new set of mufflers, you know, something different, or I wanted to do an off-road X-pipe, but you can't really find them as common as they used to be. I imagine it's because all the stuff cracking down on all the like manufacturers and everything. But what I do find is like a catted X-pipe or H-pipe. I think I'm gonna do a catted X-pipe, so I don't know. That's probably gonna be one of my first things I want to do is get this thing where it's like, it makes some good noise, because this car's got like, so you know, it's the mechanical drivetrain noise. Like my truck, I kind of like the way that 6-liter sounds with the factory exhaust. It just sounds smooth, where this one's just, I don't know, I guess it's back when the day when I used to cruise in all these cars and stuff, they're all loud. X-pipes, off-road, everything, they sounded good. So it's like, naturally, that's what it's got to sound like. I mean, so I think that's what I'm going to do. But for right now, I've had this thing almost a month, and I've got 400 miles on it, you know. So I've been driving it a little bit, but I probably won't drive it a whole lot. But it's nice because the blue Chevelle's going to be down for a little bit. Like I said, the Camaro's down for a little bit, and give me some time to work on them. And then I'm wanting to put that engine in the Scout and do a little work. So it gives me something I can kind of cruise on this winter and kind of play with a little bit. Kind of fun, just do some bolt-ons. Maybe even take it to a test and tune station. So I'd like to see what this thing would run. I imagine it would run at 13, but you know, 103 miles an hour or so. So I'm thinking about that. But I'll do, I guess I could do like a pros and cons, what I like about this car and what I don't like. I'll start with the things I don't like. It doesn't have much torque down low. This 4.6 really doesn't start moving air to like 4 grand. And you know, 6800's the shift point on it. So like, it does seem to run pretty good though. I mean, out pretty good, but it doesn't have a bunch of like that brute torque and everything. So I kind of, that's a con. I'm trying to think. It's quiet. That's another thing, I guess. Things I do well. I'll go back to a con. I really like the Z06 and like the WS6 Trans Am, and this car's not as fast as those cars, but I feel like it's built a little bit better. Like it seems like the body's more solid, you know. Because like I said, this has got a better rear end. It's got a better, I think this 5-speed is stronger than that T56 of that 98 through 02, because we broke a lot of them and stuff back in the day. Several of them missing second gear, missing third, all that good stuff. So, but everything I like about it, I like this model. I like that shaker hood, that and like the wheels and the stripes on it. I like this interior. Like, I'm not a big interior guy. Oh, back to the cons. I don't like consoles with stick shift cars. Like, if this section right here that's got this like glove compartment thing, if that was missing, this would be so much more enjoyable for me, because I like I said, I just like the shifter and no console, but that's okay. But anyways, back to everything I like about it. Everything I like about this car is way far more than like what I don't like about it. And it's built really good, it cruises good. We just need to make it make a little bit more noise and just clean it up a little bit better. I think I'd like to find a new set of like Mach 1 wheels, because the driver ones, and that's why when you go to these tire shops, make sure they don't put the weights on the outside, put them on the inside. These two wheels have been ruined because of those weights, and it's made them like, it's ruined the coating, and the coating's starting to come off. So if anybody out there's got a set of Mach 1 takeoffs that are in really nice shape, I'm down to pick them up, because I'd like to get the wheels cleaned up and like, you know, that's it. I mean, I like everything else about this car. There's nothing. I'm really proud to have it and happy to have it. And in the chase too, like, it was kind of a chase to get this car, man. Like, the guy really didn't want to get rid of it, and I understand that. I could tell he really liked it, and that makes me really appreciate this thing even more. So guys, there's only one thing left to do, and I think you guys know what that means. So good morning, guys. Hope you like that little burnout. That was pretty good. This car kind of rips a little bit, man. That was actually kind of the first burnout I've done since I bought it, and I mean, it got after it, you know. So I was kind of underestimating this car just a little bit. It's a cat. So yeah, I mean, and what's cool is like this car just sideways when you do that stuff. It's all over the road. That thing just spun straight, man. It must be like a Mustang thing or something. But so yeah, I mean, I hope you guys like it, man. It's I think it's a pretty cool car. It's like I said, it's taken me a long time to get to where, like, you know, I mean, I've always wanted something like this, but now that it's older, I feel better having it. I appreciate it more than if I would have got it back when I was 20, you know, because I would have got with my buddies and we'd been racing and it would have been destroyed. And like, another thing is the guy I bought the car from, he cared for it so much. Like, all the way from the time he bought this car in 2009, it had 50,000 miles on it. He's done everything. He's done the brakes, the struts. Like I said, it's got the Ford Racing upper and lower control arms on the rear, the struts, the steering, the wheel bearings, everything's been serviced very well. The time and chain tensioners have been changed on it. Like, and that's another thing too. Like, I'm more comfortable with the GM stuff, but like everything on this car is very serviceable. It's just the most complicated, and I think the most expensive part is that engine, if it has a problem, you know. So I mean, it sounds good, it runs good, it's strong. I mean, this is a 200,000 mile car. It's just right at that. So it is a high mileage vehicle, but so is everything I got. All of our cars, aside from my Honda, has 200,000 miles on it. And I think 200,000 is what 100,000 used to be on the old cars. Like, cars are so much more efficient now, and especially if they've had the oil change 3,000 or 5,000 miles, like, I think they can go the distance. And this car has not been abused. Like, I can bet you it's probably only got less than a handful of burnouts on it, you know, and I probably did the hardest one earlier. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty happy with it, and I'd rather have something that's been cared for, a little bit higher mileage, than say one with like 10,000 miles, then I'd be afraid to drive it. You know, I'd be afraid to put miles on it, and it's more of an investment at this point, where this car, I mean, I got it right, it's in great shape, it feels like it has 100,000 miles on it. So, I mean, I don't think you can beat it, you know what I mean? Yeah, I'm very interested. Like, I got the book on the 4-valve, you know, 2-valve, 4-valve motors and everything that you buy, like the kind of Chilton's manual, whatever it is. And like, so I'm going to do a lot of research. Even if the motor messes up, I wouldn't mind rebuilding this. I'm genuinely interested in it. So, I'm trying to think of what else. Yeah, I mean, it looks good with my fleet. Definitely, like I said, I got some work to do to that. Not much. I mean, I just got to fix the fuel lines. I can start driving it again. But the front end, like I said, I've ruined the front tires on that trip to Arizona. So I got to fix that stuff. And I want to make some changes. Really thinking about doing a race week here sometime. But yeah, definitely digging it. But yeah, this is a pretty sharp car. I'm very happy with it. Very, very happy with it. So I guess that'll be all for this week. So I'm going to get after it and do some stuff. So I appreciate it, guys. If you hit that like and subscribe button. I just rolled over 900 subscribers, which freaking awesome. Thank you, guys.